They told us not to celebrate Halloween this year. Not a joke. Not a church thing. Not some concerned parents' meeting. The whole town said it, quietly, like a warning. I was 17. Halloween meant everything back then. Me, Tom, and Nina, we had a yearly competition. Scariest house on the street. Fake spider webs, plastic skulls, orange lights, cheap candy. Stupid fun. But this year was supposed to be our last one together. Then came the notice. Typed, stamped, taped everywhere. On the church door, the town hall, even the library board. Due to the events of October 31st last year, the town of Brzozovka advises all residents not to participate in Halloween activities. It sounded official. The problem? No one knew what those events were. People whispered that some kids went missing, that a house burned down, that someone saw something moving near the old Krajewski House, the one by the woods that everyone avoided. Tom grinned when he saw the notice. So that's our spot this year. Nina frowned. You're kidding. That place is sealed off. Tom smirked. Not on Halloween. On Halloween, every house is open. I should have stopped him. But at 17, the idea of becoming the ones who brought Halloween back was too good to resist. Fine, I said, but we do it properly. Costumes, pumpkins, lights, and we find out what happened last year. Nina crossed her arms. You two are insane. Go talk to ghosts if you want. I'm staying home. She didn't know yet that the ghosts would come to her. The next day we went digging. The adults didn't want to talk about last year. They changed the subject, looked away, or simply said, it's over. But old Mrs. Gorska, who ran the antique shop on Main Street, didn't look away. She just asked quietly, Did you see the lantern? We looked at each other. What lantern? I asked. Her voice dropped to a whisper. Last Halloween, someone brought a real one. Not a pumpkin. The original kind was a lantern carved from a turnip. She told us the story. Before pumpkins, people in Ireland used to carve turnips to trap lost souls. But they said one soul was never trapped, Jack-o'-lantern himself. And if someone used the wrong words while carving, they could let Jack out instead of keeping him away. They carved it in that house, she said. And when they lit the candle, it screamed. Tom laughed, but I noticed his hands shaking. The old woman didn't blink. They never found the boy who made it. Just the lantern, still burning inside the house. The police said it was just kids playing around. But the flame never went out. That night, I dreamed of a light, small orange, flickering through cracks in the dark. A voice whispered, "Light me again." The next day, Tom texted me just one line. "Meet at the house, midnight. 3. The Krajewski House looked worse than I remembered. Tall grass, broken windows, a front porch sinking into the earth, the kind of place that didn't just look abandoned. It looked forgotten. The moon was low, hidden behind thin clouds. Nina came anyway, even though she swore she wouldn't. She said she had a bad feeling and didn't want us to be alone. We go in, we film, we leave, Tom said. 10 minutes tops. The front door was chained, so we went around the side. The wood creaked under our feet. Soft, like stepping on something that used to be alive. Inside, the air smelled of dust and smoke. Our flashlights flickered on the walls. Old photographs, furniture covered in sheets. And in the corner, something small. A turnip, dried and shriveled, sitting on a cracked wooden table. The top was carved, the candle inside still half melted. "So you've got to be kidding me," Nina whispered. Tom grinned and pulled out his lighter. "Guess we're doing this properly." Before I could stop him, the candle caught fire. A faint orange light spread across the room, and then the air changed. The wind outside stopped. The house seemed to breathe. From somewhere deep within the walls came a faint sound. Not a voice, not quite. More like someone whispering through water. Then Nina screamed. Nina's scream echoed through the hallway, but when I turned toward her, she wasn't looking at the turnip. She was staring at the mirror across the room. Her reflection was smiling. She wasn't. Tom froze. "That's a trick, right?" The mirror flickered. For a second, I saw 3 reflections. Us and someone else standing behind me. I spun around. Nothing. Just the faint sound of whispering again. Closer now. Like someone talking into my ear from behind the wall. The candle inside the turnip flared, bright enough to light the whole room. The flame wasn't orange anymore, it was white. Too bright to look at, and it cast no shadow. Then the voices started, dozens of them speaking over each other. Some were laughing, some were crying. One voice said my name. Adam? It was my mother's voice. But my mother had been dead for 2 years. Nina grabbed my arm. We have to go. Tom didn't move. He just stood there watching the light. The reflection in the mirror leaned forward and whispered the same word the old woman had told us. Jack. The candle went out, and the whole house exhaled. A long, low breath that made the walls tremble. Then from the darkness, something knocked. 3 times. Slow, heavy, inside the walls. Tom finally moved. He turned toward the door, the real one, not the one in the mirror, and whispered, "Let's get out of here." We didn't argue. The floor groaned under our feet as we ran, but when I reached for the handle, it wasn't there. The door had no knob, just cold, smooth wood. "We came in this way," Nina shouted. "The door was right here." She hit it with her hands at once, twice, and the sound didn't echo. It just died in the air, like the house was swallowing the noise. I looked back at Tom. His flashlight was flickering. Behind him, the hallway seemed longer than before, stretching into darkness that shouldn't exist in a 1-story house. "Okay," he said, trying to sound brave. "Back window, come on." We ran. Every step sounded like it landed somewhere else, like the floor was deeper than the ground beneath it. Then Nina stopped. She was staring at a door that hadn't been there before. A small one, half the size of the others. It was slightly open. "Don't," I whispered. But she pushed it anyway. A rush of cold air came out, smelling like dirt and something old. At the bottom of the stairs, a light was glowing, soft, flickering orange. "The lantern," she whispered. And somewhere below us, someone started laughing. Not like a person, like a flame trying to breathe. The stairs were old and narrow, each step groaning like something alive beneath the wood. The deeper we went, the colder it got. The air felt heavy, not like air at all, more like breathing through someone else's lungs. The orange light grew brighter, pulsing like a heartbeat. Tom whispered, "It's just a candle, right? Just a candle." But even he didn't believe it. When we reached the bottom, the basement stretched wider than the house itself, stone walls slick with water, and in the center, on an old wooden chair, sat the turnip lantern. It was burning again. No one had lit it. The flame moved inside it, twisting, shaping itself into something like a face, eyes, a mouth. And then it smiled. "Who's there?" Tom said. The voice that answered didn't come from the lantern. It came from everywhere. "You called me back." The light flared, and for a second, I saw shadows crawling across the walls, arms and hands pressed against the stone, like people trying to claw their way out. Nina screamed. The candlelight flickered, and the shadows moved closer. "We have to go," I shouted, but the stairs behind us were gone. Just a blank wall, breathing slowly, like it was waiting. Tom stepped forward. "What do you want from us?" The lantern's smile widened. "Only what you lit me for. A celebration." The light burst, and everything went white. When the white light faded, we weren't in the basement anymore. At least, it didn't look like it. The walls were still stone, but the air was warm now, glowing red and gold, like 100 candles were burning at once. The smell was sweet, almost like pumpkin pie, and then we saw them. Figures standing in a circle around us. Dozens of them, old, young, men, women, their faces pale and hollow, their eyes burning with the same orange light as the lantern. Each one was holding something. A mask, a candle, a toy, all broken. All burned. Tom whispered, "Who are they?" Nina's voice cracked. "I think they're the ones from last year." The nearest figure stepped forward. Its mouth moved, but the voice came from behind us. Deep, echoing like it was inside our heads. We kept the tradition alive. I turned, and there it was, floating in the air behind us. The turnip lantern burning brighter than ever. Inside it, the face was clearer now, made of smoke, fire, and something human. You forgot to celebrate, it said. But the dead never do. The figures began to move, slowly circling us, humming a tune, a song I'd heard as a kid, the kind we used to sing while carving pumpkins. Trick or treat, smell my feet. Only now it didn't sound playful. It sounded like a prayer. The lantern laughed. The sound echoed through my chest like a heartbeat. Tom grabbed my arm. Adam, look down. Beneath our feet, the floor was no longer stone. It was glass. And under it, hundreds of faces were looking up, their mouths open, still screaming. Tom smashed the glass with his flashlight. The sound rang like a bell, sharp, endless. The faces beneath cracked apart, and the red light vanished. Everything went black. Then footsteps. Ours. Running, breathing, shouting. I couldn't tell where the stairs were, but somehow we were moving. Up, forward, anywhere but there. The whispering grew quieter, until there was only one voice left. Don't forget the light. We hit a door. Real wood, real handle. I turned it, and cold night air hit my face. We stumbled outside, collapsing onto wet grass. The Krajewski House stood behind us, dark, silent, as if it had never been lit. Nina was crying. Tom just stared at his hands. They were covered in soot, but when he rubbed them, the black marks didn't come off. They were burned in. We did it, I whispered. We're out. Then from the woods, something flickered. A soft orange glow, the same light as before. One by one, tiny lanterns appeared among the trees. Dozens, hundreds, each with a face carved into it. Each smiling. Nina whispered. They followed us. The lights moved closer, circling the house, the trees, the road, like fireflies in slow motion. And then all at once they spoke. Trick or treat. The ground shook. The house behind us caught fire. Flames bursting from every window, but burning without smoke. Like the air itself wanted to join in. Tom turned to me, eyes wide. Adam, look. His reflection stared back at him from the flames. And it was smiling. Then the light swallowed everything. Tom smashed the glass with his flashlight. The sound tore through the basement like a scream. The faces beneath shattered, and the red light disappeared, leaving only darkness, thick, choking, alive. Then came the footsteps, at first soft, then louder. Not ours. They echoed from behind the walls, from the ceiling, from beneath the floor we had just broken. I grabbed Nina's hand. Her skin was freezing cold. Run! We didn't know where we were running. Every hallway looked the same. Rotting wallpaper, old portraits, and behind each one whispers following our names. Adam, Nina, Tom. It sounded like the whole house was learning to speak. We burst through a narrow hallway, and there it was, the front door. Wooden, crooked, real. I threw my shoulder into it once. Twice. On the third hit, it gave way. Cold air hit us like water. We stumbled out onto wet grass, gasping. The world outside looked normal. Grey sky, empty streetlights, the faint glow of the town in the distance. For a moment, we didn't say anything. We just stood there, breathing like we'd been underwater for too long. Then Tom spoke. We made it. But he didn't sound convinced. Nina was shaking. I looked down. Her shoes were covered in ash, and small pieces of what looked like burnt paper were stuck to her clothes. Old newspaper scraps. I picked one up. It was an article, dated November 1st, 1997. Local teens found dead after Halloween fire. And below it, our names. All three of them. The paper crumbled in my hand. Tom laughed nervously. Funny joke, right? Like some setup thing, some... He stopped. His eyes locked on something behind me. I turned. The house wasn't dark anymore. Every window glowed orange. Lanterns lined the porch, hanging from the roof. Dozens of them, turnips, pumpkins, jars, bottles, all carved with faces. And in each flame, something was moving. Nina whispered. They're watching. The wind picked up, carrying the faint sound of children laughing. It came from everywhere. The woods, the road, the air itself. Then, from the doorway of the burning house, a figure stepped out, tall, thin, its head glowing with a single orange light. And when it spoke, it sounded like a smile. You remembered. Welcome back. The lanterns flickered in unison. The ground beneath us rumbled, cracking open just enough to breathe fire. The last thing I saw was Tom reaching for me, his hand turning to smoke. Then everything went white and silent. When I opened my eyes, it was morning. The light coming through the window was soft, almost golden. For a second, I thought it was all a dream. White walls, a monitor beeping, the smell of antiseptic, a hospital. My arm was wrapped in gauze. There was soot under my fingernails. Someone had written my name on the band, Adam Krajewski. I turned my head. The bed next to me was empty. No Tom. No Nina. A nurse walked in. She smiled, polite but tired. Good morning. You're lucky someone found you. Found me? Where? I asked. She hesitated. Outside the old Krajewski House. It burned down last night. My throat tightened. The others, my friends. Her eyes softened. I'm sorry. The words barely reached me. All I could hear was the sound of my own heartbeat. Steady, slow, like a ticking clock. She left. And then the room was quiet again. That's when I saw it. On the bedside table, a small object, resting next to a cup of water. A turnip lantern. Dried, cracked, but still burning. A tiny flame inside, glowing faintly orange. I stared at it. The flame flickered once. Then I heard the voice. Not in the room. Not in my head. Everywhere. Don't blow it out. The monitor beside me flatlined. The lights went out. And from the hallway, I heard the sound of children laughing. Getting closer.